OldGuyTalks.com is all about being a better man. Join me on this kick-ass journey. Exclusive stuff for members only in the Old Guy Cave. Opt in now. This is Oris the Old Guy from www.oldguytalks.com coming at you with Rant, my Friday rant. Today we're going to be talking about, among other things, prostitutes pissing on a bed. That's right, I'm sure you've heard about that. Prostitutes pissing on a bed. But before we get to that, I'm having a cigar outside, watching a little bit of the news, and normally I'd be having a scotch, but with all the festivities over Christmas, New Year's, and everything else, and being of Ukrainian ancestry, we celebrate Christmas twice. My wife and I decided to give our livers a break for about 30 days and kind of reset things and take a break from alcohol consumption. There will be one notable exception to that when I'm going to a UFC fight here in Phoenix Saturday night. I think I am going to have a few drinks there, but beyond that, I'll be staying away from it for about 30 days and go from there. So, been watching TV, the news a little bit, and getting ready, preparing for my rant tonight. And there's a gentleman by the name of Glenn Greenwald. He's got a blog called The Intercept, and he's not a Trump supporter. So I just want to get that cleared out. He's not a Trump supporter at all. But he did have some comments about the CIA and the FBI. And it seems to him that the FBI is kind of in Trump's corner with the release of the discussion of the emails, bring them up, take them down, bring them up again. But he said that definitely, for a bunch of reasons, the CIA, and remember that name I said John Brennan a few weeks ago, the CIA is definitely in Hillary's corner. That's right, the CIA, former acting director of the CIA, Mike Morell, announced his support in the New York Times. Now there's a big surprise for Hillary before the election, amongst others. And you got to remember that John Brennan, that Obama political hack, current director of the CIA, was involved in some pretty interesting stuff. He had some people looking at passports in 2008. Go ahead and Google that, so see what comes up and tell me what you think. All this stuff just doesn't make sense. So, you know, everybody's saying, well, Russia hacked into Hillary and into John Podesta's and the DNC computers. And, you know, I'm just not quite buying it completely. You know, there's a lot of stuff that we're never going to know about. But I will say something about Julian Assange. You know, whatever you think of him, you know, we hated him when he released some stuff, and we loved him when we released other stuff. That way, you know, obviously people have a love-hate relationship depending on what he's releasing that week. But one of the things that they never challenged is the accuracy or the truthfulness of the emails that he released. You know, so when he says it wasn't the Russians that hacked into the servers, I'm going to give that a little bit of credibility because, I mean, this guy, if you remember correctly, when he was like 16, he hacked into NASA and some other U.S. government agencies. So this guy's he's a well-versed hacker. And he's always, you know, if you may not like what he is, you may think he's a criminal, about this and all that. But you know what? One of the things that he's always been is he's always been accurate. So, you know, that's the question is. So, and, you know, the question is, why would Russia prefer Trump over Hillary? I mean, first of all, Rex Tillerson testified in a Secretary of State hearing, and I'll tell you, Putin thought that there's a lovey-dovey relationship there, totally miscalculated. Even Trump said that, you know, I'm not sure we're going to get along. Maybe we will be nice, maybe we won't, whatever. But Tillerson already started talking about giving lethal arms for Ukraine to protect itself. Lethal arms for Ukraine to protect themselves. That is not something that Putin wanted to hear. And I'll guarantee you he did not want to hear that. And that's not good news for the Russians and their aggressions on the eastern border in Crimea and other parts of the former Soviet Union that Putin is trying to put together. But let's talk a little bit about let's talk a little bit about Trump versus Hillary. And let's take a look at Hillary's record and why Putin might actually have preferred Hillary. And, you know, first of all, when they did the reset button, that didn't turn out so well. And so Hillary's not such a great judge of character and situations. And actually has no accomplishments as Secretary of State. Obama told Vlad, indirectly, through Medved, that after the election, I will be more flexible. Well, they do have all those Hillary emails on yoga. And Vlad might be thinking, well, if all those, Hillary's done all that yoga stuff, she's probably got to be a lot more flexible than Obama. But, and then Hillary's Mideast policies, it started off great with, first of all, she missed the Green Revolution in Iran. Then she lost Egypt to the Muslim Brotherhood. That turned out really well. Fortunately, fortunately, the military never did. Excuse me. Was able to regain control and get rid of those guys. Then there's the success in Libya and the video that took down a country. I don't know about you, but that certainly doesn't show any great prowess in foreign affairs. And we're still fighting, still dealing with the power vacuum that was created there. And yes, for those of you policy twerks, you may remember the Asian pivot in response to China. It was designed to limit Chinese expansion. And so we all know how that turned out. The Chinese decided to build fake islands that turn out to be not so fake. They actually turned out to be real and really trying to expand their empire. And that was really, that's just, as the diplomats say, well, we limited China's sphere of influence. I don't think so, and I'm not even sure what the hell that means. And then there's North Korea. Yes, ever since North Korea. Great movie, Team America. You can watch it. A little funny parody. North Korea. Hillary chose to follow up in the steps with her husband, and Bill negotiated a treaty. Actually, he negotiated a treaty, but it was negotiated by, and as John Podesta referred to him in those emails leaked by Julian Assange as that needy Latino, Elliot Richardson, negotiated that treaty, and voila, guess what? We found out that they cheated, that they were continuing to build nuclear arms, and worse yet, delivery systems. They're testing out delivery system. So given that record, I think I might have picked, if I was Putin, I might have picked Hillary instead of Trump as my, as president of the United States, if I can make my picks. So, given all of that and post-election, you'd think that we're done with the Clintons, but no, not a snowball's chance in hell. So, the State Department is getting 4 pavilions. They're getting 4 pavilions. And the first one that you're going to see when you walk into the State Department, which I'm not planning on doing anytime in the near future, I don't think I'll be invited, is the Hillary Clinton Pavilion. And guess what? Guess who paid for that? Well, of course, those few countries from the Middle East, 4 of them to be exact, that are so in tune with women's rights. That's right. Some of those despotic regimes in the Middle East are paying for that pavilion. It sounds like a lot like the Clinton Foundation, doesn't it? And Boeing. Now, you understand that Boeing chipped in a few $1 million, and the reason they could chip in a few $1 million was they got several billion-dollar deals to build planes for, guess what? Guess who? Russia. Yeah. Wow. So, Clintons aren't going away. Just like the Obamas aren't going away. They're going to be here for a while. The only thing, if I have to see something in the future, I'm going to say, I think there's going to be a special prosecutor in Hillary's future, and Huma's also. So, So, next thing up, watching these hearings is kind of interesting. So before we get into fake news, let's discuss stupid news. Apparently, Senator Harris for replacing Senator Boxer is not a significant upgrade in the representation for the state of California. I don't have a clue as to what the job of the CIA is, Senator Harris trots out a quote from current CIA director John Brennan. This guy's name keeps on coming up. And I want to get correct here. And I said, man, Google John Brennan and Obama passport, saying that climate change is a factor, and I quote, deeper cause of rising instability in the world. Climate change is a deeper cause of rising instability in the world. Okay, there it is, folks. So if the terrorists had a better thermostats, there'd be less terrorism. That's my takeaway from that. This just doesn't make sense. Now, much to his credit, Representative Pompeo, let me see if I got that right. Pompeo graduated #1 in his class at West Point, Harvard Law School graduate, Harvard Law Review, all that stuff, all that stuff. He's probably just biting his tongue, probably his cheek or two, everything. And he clarified for Senator Harris the unique concept that the job of the CIA is to collect foreign intelligence for other government agencies to use. Let me repeat that. Collect foreign intelligence for other government agencies to use. And he followed that with this other quote, to work alongside warriors, keeping America safe. To work alongside warriors, keeping America safe. Gosh, ain't that concept? Wow. I think he's going to be doing some cleanup at the CIA. Much needed. Now to the fake news. More of it. I thought we were done with this, but no, I think we're going to have 4 years of this. So we got to get used to it. There's also a new word coined recently. It's called fan fiction. It's coming up. You might be seeing more of that. I'm not sure. I don't think it's got a lot of traction. But it's just a new word I saw a few days and thing. So this is how stupid CNN is. And the other means, well, it's actually, I can't say, I got to say, New York Times and Washington Post, none of these would even touch this story because it was so ridiculous. So the fiction goes that Trump paid prostitutes in Moscow to pee on a bed in the Ritz-Carlton that the Obamas stayed in. You got that? That's the story that we're supposed to believe. And first of all, this started off as a paid political research opponent paid political research by a hashtag Never Trump GOP operative called Rick Wilson. And this wasn't going anywhere. And so he kind of dropped it, and then some other people out there. And apparently it's been out there for a long, this story has been out there a long time, along with Bigfoot, was out there. But then there was a leak. I wonder where that came from. It was a leak. A leak of the story was John Brennan, maybe, that President-elect Trump and President Obama were being briefed on this. And they were being briefed on this as if this was a real story. No, folks, they were briefed on it as a possibility of fake news that's out there. Not a possibility of an actuality of fake news that's out there all the time. This kind of crazy stuff. Now, once that was leaked, then BuzzFeed picked up on it. Now there's a great organization, BuzzFeed. So they printed out the whole thing. I wonder where they got that. They printed out the whole story, admitting that it's not verified, or they could not attest to its veracity. So they go on like that. It's amazing. Then CNN and its insane hate against Trump, and several of its, and I'm not going to say reporters, I'm going to say several of its working bees there, started to put out stories about the fake story on BuzzFeed, even knowing that it was not corroborated by any facts. But they just kept on putting it out there. So when when they had the press conference, we found out that things are going to change. It's not business as usual. See, because in the past, Republicans would have, there'll be somewhere in mild outrage, and then, there wasn't anything. No, Trump went after CNN for their irresponsible journalism, or for their lack of journalism, and he did so in a big way. And that twerp reporter John Acosta from CNN, him telling the president, elected of the United States, it's not appropriate, shame on you. Make me want to gag, talk about appropriateness after what your network did. You have the gall to do that. So, I hope that the President-elect Trump shuts him down again, and I hope that incoming press secretary Sean Spicer suspends that guy for several months from the White House press corps. Don't give him access. Don't give them access. If they're going to be irresponsible like that and gossip, that's just lowly gossip. It's being pushed off on Americans as news. That's just plain old gossip, unsubstantiated. And so it's kind of crazy. It's crazy stuff that we're going to be experiencing here for a long time, when people are trying to delegitimize. It's hard for me to say that. The presidency of Donald Trump. And that's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And lastly, does anyone remember that Obama gave a farewell speech in Chicago a few days ago? Gosh, it's like it never happened. But I do have one question for the Obamas and all Obama supporters and Hillary supporters. During that speech, how many murders or violent crimes occurred in Chicago during that time? Something to find out about. This is Oris, the old guy from www.oldguytalks.com, signing off. And remember, create a kick-ass life and watch out for that fake news. Watch out for it. Don't let it bite you. Be careful. Be skeptical about everything you hear, especially from the mainstream media. Good night. Opt in and encourage other old guy assholes like you to opt in also.